Hello and welcome to the AutoTalk Weekly Wrap. I think this week we're going to call it Express Edition. That's right, I am here alone today. We have the usual team floating around, but we are unfortunately, we're all a bit in separate places today. I think Graham's off on holiday. David was available, but I am off on holiday too, so I want to do this in a quick way. But I think it was just a good chance to actually try something different. And so I'm going to go through the kind of key stories of the week, but quickly. So none of the fluff, none of the talk. We're just going to get through them. I'll share my opinions on a few things, but otherwise this will be a really quick look at the news of the week. So yeah, if you want more on all this, of course, go to autotalk.co.nz or like us on Facebook, LinkedIn, all those places that you are probably watching this stream on, and you'll get the news as usual. But if we go on to the website, let's start off with the leaders debate. So the automotive industry, probably the first time in a while, made the leaders debate on TVNZ this year for this election. Of course, we're but a few weeks away from seeing whether we get a new government, and of course one of the key topics of that is whether or not we will see a clean car discount going into the future. So CO2 emissions and the clean car discount featured in the final discussion of tonight's, well, this was Tuesday, major party leaders debate on One News. Labour leader and Prime Minister Chris Hipkins squared off against National leader Christopher Luxon in what was a relatively relaxed and controversy-free debate, moderated by TVNZ political editor Jessica Mackay. It's one of the most watched debates of the election. A lot of it focused on living costs, and there was some discussion around fuel prices, and that was kind of the balance between Labour's raising fuel taxes and Nationals looking at basically taxing fuel under the emissions trading scheme. So, one way or another, you're going to end up being hit there. With the left, quote, poised to retain the clean car discount, and the right universally calling for it to be axed, the controversial policy has become a key election issue. The topic culminated in a focus on climate change and the CO2 emissions. Both leaders acknowledged the need to cut such emissions, though they differ in their approaches. Both admitted driving electric vehicles, which is good. Of course, Mr. Luxon's wife's car has been a little bit controversial. He expressed support for electric vehicles, emphasised the need to expand the fleet, and reaffirmed a commitment to enhance the EV charging network. His position, of course, is that we're better off putting investment into basically doubling the production of renewable energy, because if you've got lots of renewable energy, you've got a far bigger argument for having electric vehicles, though we're doing pretty darn well as it is, I think that's a bit of an interesting argument. Hipkins responded by questioning National's pledge to terminate the CCD. Cutting the clean car discount and reducing the number of electric vehicles coming to New Zealand isn't going to do that, Hipkins says, not explaining how that would reduce the vehicles coming in as opposed to public demand. He said that businesses should spearhead the rollout of electric vehicle charging. We don't need the government to fund the electric vehicle charging network, because if we have the uptake of EVs that we've got at the moment, the market will deliver that. And I guess he's kind of right to an extent. Companies like ChargeNet doing a great job of that, and it's not like we pay fuel companies to provide gas stations. Somewhat of an argument there. We'll see how that one pays out in the future. Now, if we stick on the electrification bandwagon, but with a very different kind of electric vehicle, Ford has confirmed a PHEV Ranger is on the way. There it is, good-looking vehicle there. Ford has confirmed that many in the car industry had already suspected, a plug-in hybrid version of the popular Ranger Ute is in development. However, prospective buyers might want to hold off on placing orders. Deliveries aren't expected to begin until late 2024, early 2025, and more specific details remain under wraps. By that time, at least 4 other electrified utes will have made their debut, including the electric LDV-T60, mild hybrid Ram 1500, Toyota Hilux, and the anticipated plug-in hybrid and subsequent BEV BYD ute. There's also a possibility of us seeing similar vehicles from Mitsubishi and Nissan. The new model will utilise the 2.3-litre turbocharged petrol engine already seen in Rangers and Volkswagen Amarok overseas. The engine on its own generates 222 kilowatts and 452 newton meters. When paired with an electric motor, Ford hinted that it might offer more torque than any other Ranger available, which means it will be north of 600 newton meters. They don't have given us any CCD data, any power data. The only data we really have is that it will do 45 kilometers claimed BEV or battery range, and that you can switch between the various modes as you can in existing PHEVs in the Ford range. So you can have it on auto, you can have it on save, and so on so forth. It will tow 3.5 tonne, and it will have a power system in it, which means you can have 230 volts, 10 amp outlets running. I think 2 in the tray, 1 in the interior. I think off the battery. I wonder if you can do it off the engine as well. That system's called Pro Power. We've seen that around before in the F-150, and I think the electric Transit that's been launched there has an element of that system. Right, on to the next one. Industry leaders, ESG is about doing the right thing. A panel of 3 automotive industry leaders have told the Financial Services Federation conference that ESG, stands for Environment, Social and Governance, is about doing the right thing for employees and customers, as well as the community. The panel included Tour New Zealand Chief Executive Neeraj Lala, Spears Finance Group Chief Executive Michelle Herlihy, and Equifax Managing Director Angus Luffman. Luffman says, as a recent immigrant to New Zealand, he believes our society has a strong desire to do the right thing around ESG in spite of the country having more cars per capita than many others. Lala says ESG has impacted the car industry dramatically, but he personally believes that New Zealand should have started sooner, such as Europe, which began the journey more than 15 years ago. It says they're on track to reduce their tailpipe emissions by 50% by 2030. He says it'll be an interesting landscape over the next 7 years as we see the shift in mobility. So, interesting discussion there. You can see that on our website. From that conference as well, Avanti staffer acknowledged as Rising Star. A member of the team at Vehicle Financier Avanti has been recognised as one of the financial services Rising Stars. Michael Bushell, Complaints and Training Manager for the brand, received the award on Tuesday at the Financial Services Federation's most attended Crediting Excellence Awards evening. The awards highlight the positive impact FSF members make in the sector by celebrating those who have demonstrated excellence in leadership and good customer outcomes. That award itself was sponsored by Autosure. So that's the Autosure Rising Star. He was up against Brendan Clark from Hum Group and Matthew Fung from Spears Finance Group. If we go through, Centric's Workplace Championship was Rebecca Emery from Hum Group. Provident Insurance Leadership Award was Monica Lacey from Centric's. The Happy Team Spirit Award was Debt Managers Field Agent Team. The Spears Finance Innovation Award was Centric's, and the Equifax Community and Sustainability Award was Debt Managers. Right, on to actual dealer stuff now. So, just a good bugger notches up 20 years in Ireland. That's quite the headline from my team there. Miles Group dealership Ireland Toyota in Christchurch is celebrating employee Simon Paddy's 20th year in service of the company. A former farmer, Paddy joined the company as a commercial vehicle consultant in 2003. Paddy was also recently awarded the company's 2023 Tosca Award for Used Vehicle Salesperson of the Year, in addition to being presented with a bottle of sparkling wine to mark his 20-year tenure. Coming from a farming background, you'd think that working in the automotive industry couldn't be further from the years of training at Lincoln University, Ireland Toyota says. Have the dealership. The dealership says the diploma in agriculture and farming has given Paddy a unique advantage when it comes to assisting commercial customers. It's pretty clear there. A farmer's going to sell utes to farmers pretty well. His dry wit and southern twang is popular both within the Ireland Toyota team and his customers. If we had to sum him up in a few words, the phrase, just a good bugger, fits perfectly. Now, a bit of sad news. Former Blue Wing Honda General Manager dies. Industry friends and colleagues have paid tribute to former Blue Wing Honda General Manager Clive Cooper-Smith following his recent death. Cooper-Smith was the General Manager of motorcycle distributors Blue Wing Honda from 1998 to 2008. He then went on to work for Kiwirrail for more than 7 years, becoming self-employed in 2013, and also the chairperson of the Ponsonby Community Centre in 2018. Former NZ Autocar editor and motoring writer Paul Owen, who's also been a contributor to AutoTalk over the years, says Cooper-Smith was a man of flair who applied himself to the motorcycle industry with a passion for his work that few possessed. Former Blue Wing Honda sales manager Steve Meadows also paid tribute to his former boss on LinkedIn. I first met Clive when I started as sales manager with Blue Wing Honda in 2004. He was their GM. More than anyone that I've worked with before or after, I learned from him. He taught me how to separate people's actions from themselves, to be considerate and generous, and keep emotions out of conflict. But he was always better at it than me. I'm yet to meet a tougher, kinder, harder, fiercer, or more caring person, and I'm immensely proud to have been a friend for many years after we stopped working under the same roof. And condolences from the Automedia Group team to those of his Blue Wing Honda colleagues and, of course, his family. Now, Skoda New Zealand has appointed a new national sales manager. Skoda New Zealand has appointed experienced motor industry executive Jason Jarvis as its new national sales manager. He replaces Chantal McDonald, who was promoted by EMD to the role of Volkswagen passenger car general manager in July. Jarvis moved across the building from his previous role as Volkswagen New Zealand dealer development manager, which he held for more than 2 years. He has considerable experience in both automotive distribution and retail. Since 2009, Jarvis was previously an automotive brand manager, and he has also been a dealer principal for a number of different franchises, in addition to running his own automotive industry training consultancy. So great to see someone with some real solid industry experience in that role, and I'm sure that will go very well for Skoda, who have been doing incredibly well in the last couple of years. You know, things like the police fleet deal, they are a brand definitely on the up. Pricing reveal for 2 Solterra EV variants, and this is an interesting one, I think, because this car will, of course, become a Toyota as well, be Toyota's first kind of mainstream EV, and Subaru has gone and priced the entry level for $79,990, and that will make it pretty much the first all-wheel drive electric vehicle under the rebate limit in New Zealand at this stage. 2 variants available in New Zealand for the market are the Solterra and the Solterra Touring. The all-drive Solterra features 8-inch wheels along with a 10-way power driver's seat, front seat heaters, and a rear power tailgate. And that's, of course, $79,990. And the Solterra Touring adds 20-inch wheels, wireless phone charging, memory, driver and passenger seats, leather upholstery, Harman Kardon speakers, plus heated steering wheel and rear seats for $84,990. You can get a two-tone exterior for a little bit more. You get 2 electric motors powered up to 160 kilowatts of output, 465 kilometer range. I think it's a 60-something battery. Yeah. Though the Touring's range is 440, and that'll be those big wheels. So that's interesting pricing for that. It'll be interesting to see if they keep that at $79,990 after the election. That is going to be really indicative and probably put some pressure on Toyota as to what they're going to do with their BZ4X, which we will hopefully be experiencing soon. There's been some tweaks to the clean car system. A multi-factor authentication system is being launched by Waikotahi for the clean car standard. Just adds a little more security across the platform. And I guess if you've got items that are being traded there, they're worth money. A little bit extra security is smart. The detail of that is on AutoTalk. Tesla has produced its 5 millionth EV. Tesla has announced on X, formerly Twitter, of course owned by Elon Musk, that this week it produced its 5 millionth vehicle. However, reports suggest Tesla production may drop slightly in Q3 due to factory upgrades and a short stoppage at Giga Shanghai to allow for the new Model 3. You can read more about that on EVs and Beyond. And our last quick story of today, and it's a bit of a duh. New Zealand, a car-dependent culture, expert says. With fuel prices on the rise, many families are having to scrap certain household items in order to keep the car running. In a recent Stuff article, Auckland University of Technology AUT macro marketing professor Ben Williscroft said a number of Kiwis were trapped into paying for fuel, whatever it costs. In reality, most of New Zealanders are stuck in a car dependency cycle. Rural towns often have little or no public transport, and walking cycling distances are too great or frequently feature high-speed roads without separated, safe footpaths or cycle paths. So I say print out this article, and if you are selling an electric vehicle, you can wave it around in front of them and say, look, these experts say you are trapped in your car paying for petrol. Another good reason to buy a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid or an electric vehicle. So it's a bit of a sales tool, that one. Bit of a fun one. Right, anyway, that's it for the AutoTalk Weekly Wrap Express. I was hoping for 10 minutes. We've gone out to about 14 because, as always, the news is just too good. We'll be back hopefully next week with our usual group of experts. But until then, don't forget to follow autotalk.co.nz for all the latest automotive industry news. We'll catch you later.